I just figured out how to use scoped and session property bags in my workflow. And now you're throwing another one at me? Persistent properties? Scoped, session, persistent. Oh my. There are a lot of property bags in OnBase, and it's a wonderful tool. I use them all the time. I talk about them on these videos as a way to set variables and use them in workflow without using a keyword. Now, we're doing another video that's going to go over all the property bags where we kick the tires on them, we test them, and we show you how they actually function in OnBase. But today, I want to talk about persistent property bags, which is the newest property bag that you can leverage within your workflow. Persistent property bags are just as they sound. They're persistent. They're like the car salesman of property bags, the telemarketer of property bags, the door-to-door salesman, so to speak, of property bags. And the way that they function is that your variable is set to the work item, so in your life cycle, and you can use that variable, that property bag, anywhere as long as it stays within that life cycle. So it's pretty cool. Unlike scoped and session that clear out at a certain point, these don't clear out until it moves to another life cycle. Really what I want to do is show you how I use it. That's going to benefit you the most, is seeing how it can be used so that you can leverage it in your workflow and make things a lot easier, cooler, and stop using keywords. All right, we've navigated into Studio so that I can show you the sticky little bugger property bag. One of the ways that I use it is for queue routing. So to route things back. In this real world example, you probably use approval queues all the time. We now have sent this document to the manager for an approval. They've rejected it. I'm sorry. They didn't like something. So they want to send it back to the queue that it came from. So here we're setting property to the queue name, a persistent property. So now when it moves to the approval queue, that's stored. So when that manager rejects it and routes it back, it knows. It looks at that property, it finds the queue name, and it routes it back. So now the burden doesn't fall on the manager with a bunch of different ad hoc tasks to try to figure out where this document and how to route it back to where it came from. That's one way. The next way that I use a persistent property is to flag a document or a work item as it's made its way through a multi-stage process. Like, have you ever built a workflow that has multiple levels of processing and that has failed halfway through? We've all had that happen. So I can flag that with a persistent property. So once it's completed stage one and it happens to fail, the user can now rerun that and we can skip stage one, go right down to stage two processing. Then we're not duplicating any sort of logic or creating duplicates in your system or rerunning the same process over and over again, rambling on a video series. I hope seeing how we use persistent property bags, or as I like to call them, the sticky little buggers within our workflow, has inspired you to think about how to use this in your solutions. And feel free, if you find some earth-shattering way of utilizing this tool, then share it with us. I love hearing new ways. I love using new concepts and ideas in our workflows. I'll be honest with you, I have not thought of a clever way to transition to today's snack. I'm sorry. So I'm just gonna pick it up and show you. Today we're going for sweet, and this is Bananco. It just kind of rolls off the tongue. And this is from, I think, Croatia. So this is a chocolate, I think it probably has bananas in it. I'm guessing it's chocolate and banana. Cheers. They're very, very banana-y. It's like marshmallow, banana, You got to really like bananas.